Welcome
Welcome
to Sleepdrunk.
to Sleepdrunk, where my microphone is currently hanging from my TV.
Alex, I have to say, this is probably the single jankiest setup you ever had for an episode. I think.
Hey, but you know what?
Between the both of us,
This could have the potential to be one of the episodes with the best sound quality still yet, because we are still using separate microphones.
Yes. So today on the show, we're going to be. I'm going back to an old series. I guess it's a series now, but we're gonna do another YouTube community review. This time on tech. I think one of the biggest communities on the site. I think just objectively, like there's just a huge community.
Yes, and this is also one that I can participate in, being the absolute disgusting nerd that I am.
You and me both. And speaking of disgusting nerds, after we waltz by Discussion Avenue, we're gonna do a segment which I have titled Alavi ran out of ideas, so let's talk about coffee, the cold brew bit, because I ran out of ideas. So let's talk about coffee.
That's not good. You ran out of ideas.
Well, okay, I ran out of ideas that would fit well, that I had developed. This is one of my back pocket ideas for when I haven't had time to really develop a proper topic yet. But so,
I guess that means you've been busy with school.
Yes, I have been, but we'll talk more about that on Discussion Avenue. So, Alex, show notes were pretty sparse on this one, because I feel like, frankly, we could just kind of freeball this because we both watch a lot of tech. So I figured let's take it like we did last time and just kind of talk about a few of the big YouTubers in the space. Then afterwards, we can summarize our thoughts. So I think first and foremost, I'm just going to start with the God King of tech himself, the mighty Marques Brownlee, also known as MKBHD, Alex. We don't really need to say much about him, honestly.
Honestly, we don't.
He makes
face of extremely high quality content. Everybody knows his name. If you are looking for an honest, good, well-rounded review of any mobile device, really, I mean, it's not even limited to phones. He goes into some laptops. He goes into some cameras. I mean,
and also and just really high-end cameras,
really high-end cameras. If you were looking at a red cinema camera, he's your guy as well. But really just great consumer advice for any cell phone, smartphone that's on the market.
Yeah, I think especially smartphones.
And it's always what he says in the review is very thought through. The guy actually carries around how many smartphones on daily?
Minimum of 2. He carries an Android phone and an iPhone, best of both.
And he uses them as his daily driver to test them, and he produces extremely high quality content. He shoots in 8K and then downsizes to 4K with a fully professional production line.
I think he shoots an 8K RAW.
Yeah. So this guy knows what he's doing.
Yeah, it's especially I think the best part about it is that he very much started out as an organic channel. He wasn't manufactured. He got to his standards starting out as a high schooler with a flip camera in 2009, making videos about an AT&T phone.
Because he's a genuine guy.
Yeah.
His channel doesn't have a really corporate kind of format. You look at some of these channels, just to name one, Cheddar, they have a very defined format that they have narrowed down that makes them ad revenue. But this guy, he just does his thing.
Yeah. It's a commercialized YouTube channel versus a professional YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Marques, the man behind MKBHD, is a professional YouTuber. This is his thing.
And he nails it.
And so, I mean, honestly, he is, I feel the go-to for tech. If you want to know about a phone, he just dropped a review for the Asus ROG phone, which very few people are going to buy, but I think it's still actually just genuinely an interesting phone.
Yes, he also reviewed the Razer phone in that category.
Actually, it was the Asus ROG phone too, and I think he reviewed the Razer phone too as well. If there's a phone that's coming out, he's probably reviewed it. It's insane. And of course, all the flagships the iPhones, the Galaxies, the Pixels, of course he reviews those. But then just the niche stuff, laptops, cameras, miscellaneous tech, just everything.
Speaking of iPhones, for Apple people out there, he just recently dropped a first impressions video for the iPhone 11, if you'd like to check that out.
I haven't watched that yet, so I'll probably watch that later.
I meant to watch that just now.
Yeah. I mean...
But then we started recording.
Yes. Yes. So, MKBHD, I think, 10 out of 10 guy, fantastic. But I think moving on to at least something a bit more contentious between, I think, the two of us. Hey guys, this is Austin.
Hey guys, this is Austin.
Referring to, of course, Austin Evans, who's kind of
Austin Evans.
He's also like an OG tech YouTuber. He's been around for a long time, but I feel like his whole feel is very different. Like,
it is. He does different things, and I think his originally, at least, his niche was DIY computers, and he is a respectable source in the field, and he does make some for the most part genuinely high quality content. There's been a few misses in his videos.
So here's the thing: I feel like his videos have a high production quality, but they don't feel like sterile, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
like they don't feel sanitized.
In the same way that MKBHD's videos are high production quality, but not sanitized.
Well, okay,
you know?
okay. I think sanitized don't work, but I feel like they're not as clean. Like MKBHD's videos are super clean. Where like Austin's is like they're not afraid to have the camera mistakes.
I was expecting you to mean that in sort of a corporate sense.
Yeah,
but
yeah, no, not like corporate sanitized.
That.
But just kind of like his videos are still very high production, but they're a lot more like they'll be throwing around jokes. Like the cameraman will chip in a point.
He doesn't
man Ken will show up
as close to the script, I guess, as MKBHD does.
Yeah. And I mean, it's like, if you want that, like, it's cool. It's like, it's a different also, I think he does more like just generally DIY type stuff. Like, he'll build like ultimate versions of consoles where he'll get all the best add-ons he can and make it like insane. So I'll get like a Switch and have like a different kind of dock, specialized Joy-Cons, all this sort of stuff, and make like the super like maxed out great Switch. And of course he also has his like, I think it's like his biggest series now, which is just like his assistant buys a bunch of random crap off Amazon and then he has to review it. Like, that's it. It's mystery tech.
And I think my sort of view of Austin Evans is a bit negatively shaped by the fact that my introduction to DIY computers was shaped by one of his videos that he made. It was a build guide for a budget computer in the $500 to $600 range, which, you know, obviously you can't expect a computer in that range to be fantastic. You can expect it to be pretty good, and that's about it. But looking back on it, I feel like the parts that he chose to include in that video are just really bad. And that's what I bought, and I ended up honestly spending way too much money kind of recovering from that and moving into the more quality DIY PC realm before I ended up selling mine.
Okay. All right. See, I'm actually going to, like, speaking of DIY PC, I think I'm going to jump a bit down unless we can go back up. Linus Tech Tips. He's another person, another tech YouTuber, which I think you watch him more than I do, so I think I'll let you take the reins on this one.
I used to watch tons of Linus Tech Tips, and every now and then, if I'm really like digging for content on YouTube, I'll go back to his channel. And really, the only reason I stopped watching him is because I just kind of fell out of that space. I don't really follow computer hardware anymore. But if I did, he'd be the guy to go to, because I honestly, I really do like the Linus Tech Tips channel and the whole brand and all that. And I like the vibe that they go off. It's sort of a fun vibe. It has in recent years become slightly more corporate. But still not to the extent of some tech channels out there, namely what the old NCIX used to be, and that's what Linus came from. But a lot of people say that like they don't like him as a personality, or they can't stand his voice. And while I can kind of see why you I can definitely see why you might not like listening to his voice for too long, as it is very high pitched and a bit jarring, and his personality, I don't know, that's just. People are weird, but I don't know. I really have a special place for Linus Tech Tips.
Yeah. See, it's for me, it's like, I like him, but his personality does sort of grate on me sometimes, like in some videos. Like, he's not bad by any means. Like, there was one YouTuber I listened to who like I half hate, half as a guilty pleasure, which we'll get to him. But like, it's, I don't know. I just, he's never super. Like,
I know exactly who you're talking about in this list.
Save it for the end. We're gonna get to him. But it's like, I don't know. He's always just sort of like grated on me a little bit, and I don't really know why. But it also might just because like, while I have interest in the DIY PC space, that's never something I've been super invested in. Like, I haven't ever built my own computer, even though at some point I want to. And so maybe once I get there, I'm sure he'll be a great resource. But like, for the time being, I don't know. He just kind of like comes off as a bit of a prick sometimes.
Yeah, that's really the personality complaints about Linus Tech Tips is he's a bit of an elitist.
A little bit.
He is much of an elitist. But honestly, you have to just see the light in it.
Yeah, no,
find it
absolutely.
funny.
Like, I think he makes good content. He makes good content. You can't.
I think people's problem is they take it too seriously.
Yeah. Although it's interesting. I know how you mentioned him being corporate, right? But while I was just like doing some reading about him, I found out he owns a company called Linus Media Group.
Yes, that's what the whole Linus Tech Tips channel is run by. Is his entire they have a huge office space in Vancouver.
Yeah.
It's like a big warehouse that they've converted into part warehouse, part office, where they do all of their production stuff, and it's called Linus Media Group. They have a giant sign out front.
Yeah. But like, I just find it funny that like he named it just like he couldn't think of a better name, like Linus Media Group. I just kind of find it. I always found it a little bit funny. But
to be fair to Linus Media Group, I'm sure it was just to be some sort of physical company that could that way it would make employment much easier.
Yeah, and like payroll,
not physical,
taxes.
but just I guess non-physical company, just whatever.
Yeah,
to just handle payroll and taxes much easier because they did start in. They just rented a house.
Yeah, did they really? Huh?
And honestly, some of their best videos were made in that house. They honestly, and that made a really good set. They would film in the kitchen.
Oh, I do remember those videos. I remember those videos. Yeah.
But now they have like special, more corporate sets for every different kind of video.
Yeah, like Tech Quickie and all that stuff.
And their hosts have changed over the years. I don't know that I care for their new hosts as much as their previous ones, such as Luke. We all remember Luke.
Yeah.
But now we have, I don't know what the guy's name is with the dark hair. Sometimes he's funny, but sometimes he can be a little bit much.
Yeah. So moving on through the list, we have a character. He's also a fixture in the tech community. Known for his hat, his gray background, and his
meth
personality. Lou from Unbox Therapy. How would you describe Unbox Therapy, Alex? Like, outside of the obvious things about unboxing, how would you describe him?
Well, like I said, meth.
It's like he reviews tech, but it's just like I feel like his biggest draw is he has a very meth personality. Like he has a lot of energy. He'll just kind of like
too much, just entirely too much energy. He needs
calmed
to
down
chill.
in recent years, but like there's a period of time where like he would just open the video fucking screaming.
Someone just needs to.
He's like, I got this phone, and I don't know what to think about it. Do this
Someone
for you.
needs to just hand him a blunt and just say, "Hey, man, let's make a video, but calm down."
Like I think he's mellowed out in recent years, or recent months. But like I think he still makes good content, and also his content also tends to hit more niche areas.
Like, yeah, he reviews very interesting things, and I'll give him that because not many other people stray there. And for the most part, he does give a pretty good overview of the features of a device. Although it is a slight bit sensationalized, he does tend to react to things a bit more strongly than any professional YouTuber in the community. Yeah. And also, he doesn't focus on a lot of the negatives of products. So there could be some sort of things that go unsaid that should probably be said if you're actually reviewing something, which I guess maybe isn't the goal of the channel since he is, after all, Unbox Therapy.
Yeah. I think a lot of it's like he gives his initial impressions on products. Like he's not really a reviewer, more as he is like, this is like what you would get out of the box, which I think is a valuable perspective. Like that initial usage.
Sure.
Right? Because I think for a lot of people, that is all their usage. Like for a lot of consumers, that is just like, take it out of the box, it's going, done. But also, I am a huge fan of like he also like gets in some really niche stuff. Like he had this series a while ago on like he'd buy like random basic phones off like Alibaba. Like base phones isn't like it is a call text, maybe a couple games in there, some Snake kind of phone. And like there'd be all these weird form factors, like one that was like a cigarette case, and like one that was like a car. Like it was like a little like toy like BMW, and then
I remember at one point he reviewed a wooden mechanical keyboard.
Oh, I do remember that. But so it's like he's very much into that niche, interesting tech kind of thing. So if you have that kind of sensibility, like if you are into that field of tech, that field of things, I think he's definitely a great YouTuber to check out, and I'm sure you've probably already heard of him. Like, he's one of the most, like, subscriber-wise, one of the most subscribed tech YouTubers. I think he's at, like, he beat past 10 million a while ago.
He's been around for a while, too, so that probably has something to do with it as well.
Actually, he might have more than Mark has.
He's been around for years. I mean, he's been around for as long as I've known YouTube.
Yeah, absolutely. He has... And, of course, links to all of these will be in the show notes. So, 15 million. Marquez has 9 million. So, yeah. So, he I think he's actually the most subscribed to tech YouTuber.
Yeah, he's been active since 2010.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a fixture. So, moving on. You're not so average consumer. So, for what I can tell, Alex, you're not actually very familiar with him. Are you?
Are you talking of Jonathan Morrison?
No, I'm talking about your average consumer.
Well, no.
Well, he's also kind of part of the YouTube tech posse.
Does he spell it like you are?
Yeah, he spells it UR. It's like, because the whole idea is he's meant to be like your average consumer. The whole idea is meant to be like a much more consumer friendly resource. Of course, as he's seen success, his lifestyle has become a lot more than average. He lives well, and he doesn't flaunt it, but like, you do. It's like you can tell. But so his whole thing is that,
at least for trying to not flaunt it.
Yeah, like he's not like, oh, check out all my money, but he's like you see his desk setup and you're like, oh, that desk setup requires money.
That's kind of like Marcus Brownlee, and you see the production quality and the kind of cameras he's using in the desk, and it's like, okay, yeah, buddy, that's. But also, it's like 10 grand in that room.
I think the difference is that like your average consumer, he films them, like, I think he still films them in his house. Like, it's all in his home. And so it just feels, because like with Marquez, it's like it's in an office, right? Versus it's like for this guy, it's his house. I think. I haven't seen his videos in a while, but like, I like him. I think he does, for the most part, still provide a very much consumer focused, easy to understand review. Because as much as I love MKBHD and all like the more fancy tech YouTubers, I feel like the average person doesn't really care about the storage type of their phone, or how fast their storage type is, and things like that. They care a lot more about the actual experience. So I think this might be just a problem with the tech community in general, but there is this huge emphasis on specs. And I love specs as much as the next guy. But to quote...
It shouldn't be the focus.
To quote many people with less than stellar endowments, it's about how you use it, I think. Like, it's not everything. I'm just telling it how it is. It's just about how you use it. Like, for example, call me an Apple fanboy all you want, but there's some instances where like Apple devices will have, like, on the Surface will have lower specs, but because of how well they're optimized, they run great.
Can we get the specs of your dick?
Patreon. When we make a Patreon, it'll be like the highest tier Patreon where you'll get my dick specs. So if you guys want a Patreon, if you guys would like help us, I should really appreciate that. But we're not gonna ask for that yet. But if we make a Patreon, you'll find the specs there. So
just in case you wanted to know.
Yep, Sleepdrunk Patreon coming at, I don't know, maybe, who knows. So actually, I know you mentioned Jonathan Morrison earlier. I think he like works with Austin Evans, like they share a studio. There's actually not that much I can say about him. He makes good videos, like they're all very high quality, and I think he's very much the middle ground between Austin Evans and MKBHD in terms of like the production quality to kind of atmosphere ratio. Like, where Austin Evans is like pretty casual, Jonathan is a little less casual, but he's still not MKBHD serious. And so if you want that, go for it. Like, I think he also does tend to lean towards more Apple stuff. He's more of an Apple focused guy. Like he's full on the ecosystem and all that. Like, he is more, I think, he still reviews non-Apple stuff. Like, I think he still has like a Pixel, and like he's still does stuff in the non-Apple realm. But if you want someone that kind of caters a bit more to that audience, he's a guy you can go to. That's really all I have to say about him.
Now this freaking guy.
The next person is a man I have many qualms with. A man that makes me upset. But a man I watch. I
can't stand watching this guy.
Sometimes it's not often, but every now and then, like, there's this just mixture of the right elements where it's like, you know what? I could tolerate some videos by Smartt with 2 T's. if you own a hydro flask, if you wear Birkenstocks, if you have a Jeep that has an Outer Banks sticker on it, if you use Visco, here's your tech YouTuber.
Oh, he'll give it to you in terms you understand.
Yeah. It's like...
And he'll also be really flamboyantly, but maybe not gay while he's doing it.
Which is no problems with that.
Is he gay?
I don't know. I don't think he is. I don't think he is.
My gaydar is like off.
I don't think he is.
The
I think he's
charts.
straight, or at least bi. Because I think at one point he like plugged Bumble, and like talked about how the girls move first on that app. Like Bumble's a dating app, but like it's like Tinder except guys aren't.
I mean, it's like
first
plugging Bumble, and you're just reading off selling points.
No. It was a video talking about like what are your favorite apps, and that was his favorite app. It was a collaboration thing across the whole community. But yeah, if you Birkenstocks, scrunchies, hydro flasks, if that's your thing, I don't know how you found this show, because I don't think we catered to that demographic. But Tech Smart's there for you, Keaton.
Yeah, really. If you if you are a person that finds your taste in those things, and you're listening to this show as well, props.
Yeah, I mean,
also, what the hell are you doing?
We appreciate it. But like, yeah, just check him out. You know what? Check him out. Like, he's not a bad guy. He's not for everyone.
He's a lot.
Yeah, like, he's a lot. But you know what? Like, it is what it is. If you're in that demographic, if you like that kind of stuff, that's fine. There's your resource. There's your guy in tech. And so here's the thing, right? Before we wrap this up, I just thought I'd say that this is most likely going to be part one of more because of just how vast the tech community is.
Honestly, it is.
Like, there's
it's
a bunch
huge.
we haven't
I was
mentioned.
thinking, like, I wonder how he settled on these channels, because
I just kind of pulled them off the top of my head.
Many.
These were the first ones that came to mind, but there's still more. Like, there's iJustine, there's Dave2D, Kevin Kenson. There's a lot. And there's people that are like tangentially related, people who do video essays on tech. Like, the whole YouTube tech space, I think, is probably arguably the biggest space, like, next to gaming on YouTube.
Yeah, it's probably second to gaming.
But I feel like it has the highest size to cohesion ratio, if you know what I mean. Like, for its size, it's very, very cohesive. And so, like, there's a lot more people that we could talk about. And so, we'll make this a part one of many. I was a Tech Insider. Yeah, there's a lot. So, we'll make this part one of maybe two, maybe three. Who knows? But for now, Alex, based on these ones that I've picked, how would you rate this section of the community as a whole?
As a whole?
Yeah.
I would rate the community very good, honestly. I feel like this is one of those communities that really comes together. They do their jobs well, and they give me a little bit more faith in humanity.
There's very little. There's like basically no vitriol, right? There's no beef, no drama. Killer King, sorry, and
that's
hopping
just
in
not
here.
there. Because, like, why would it be there?
Yeah, exactly. It's just people talking
it's an
about
escape
tech.
from all of that.
And also, they always like collaborate all the time. They're meeting up. Like, it's a great community, and I feel like
they seem like genuinely nice people.
Yeah.
There isn't a whole lot of like scamming and plugging and all that kind of BS.
Unless your name is Keaton. But we don't.
Oof.
Keaton, if you're listening to this, nothing personal, bud, but like, it's just where I'm at. Nothing personal. It's just where I'm at.
It's not me, it's you.
Yeah. Smart. But yeah, I think I would agree. I think it's a very cohesive, it's a great community. I think there's just no other way to say it. It's a fantastic community, and I think well worth your watch time as a YouTube viewer.
Well, now that we've reviewed some of the tech YouTube community, it's time that we open the old fridge of chat and guzzle the sour milk of debate as we trudge down Discussion Avenue. Yeet.
Finally.
All right, that was really clean. I like that.
That was quite clean. So, Alex, how's your week been?
My week has been quite a week, honestly. Let's see. When did we last record?
I think it was Friday. Might have been
Wednesday. Friday.
Wednesday of last week.
Wednesday of last week, really?
Yeah, it's been that long.
Guess so. All right. So, let's see. Classes. Good old ECE. That one's really been
No
learning all about
sugarcoating.
complex numbers and using MATLAB, and the assignments take hours. And wow,
I like how last semester you're like, oh, I love ECE. This is great. You know, I love
ECE
this
last
whole
semester was
thing.
fantastic, and ECE this semester is not fantastic because we're learning so much math. And honestly, math at this point, it doesn't faze me. Like, you could throw literally any kind of math at me, and I'll learn it. I'll deal with it. It doesn't matter. It can't. How hard could it be after I've been through Calc 1 through 3 and I'm taking, what am I in?
Linear.
Matrix algebra.
Yeah.
So complex numbers and all this BS, it's hard, but it's not like excruciating. It's just like, why, Like, it completely removed all of the joy from last semester where it's obviously applicable, where this semester it's just like, why am I doing this? Why do I care? And I guess I'm in the best circumstances for that, with my professor being a pretty good professor, all things considered. But I'm getting a little sick of that class. And that was how my Thursday was, because Thursdays are all just ECE lecture, and then later the lab, which is just MATLAB and more MATLAB. Oh, and did I mention MATLAB? And then for the rest of the week, it was just homework, I guess, on Saturday, and then more homework on Sunday, because, what would life be without homework?
Welcome to
Some more
college.
classes. We didn't really do anything last week except for classes and homework.
Yeah.
And
Pretty dry week, all things considered.
and yesterday I just sort of like, amidst my ECE and more ECE, I decided that I guess I'd go home for the weekend. So I stayed and had a really good dinner that Michael cooked, a Polish dinner of pierogies and whatever he calls that sausage. Sauerkraut and kibasi, that's it. And drove home, got here in record time, just minutes before my mom was leaving for work. And yeah.
And now you're at home with your microphone mounted to your TV, and the cable is cut from the boom arm, and
it has tape residue all over it. Oh, so a project that I wanted to mention on this segment. I've been working on it. I worked on it for way too long yesterday, and I worked on it for way too long while I was still at home. And I worked on it more today because I was recently overhauling basically an entire backend built on JavaScript and jQuery and Ajax and all of that business. Like, it just wasn't doing what I wanted it to do. So I completely overhauled it and made it rely on PHP and SQL instead, because what else would I do with my free time? I'm a disgusting nerd. So we have built a fully functional, and I'm really proud of this website, honestly. I'm a little too proud of it. It's a website that counts the fire alarms in our building, so you can watch us suffer with numbers.
Yep.
So if you'd like to check it out, you can visit sleepdrunk.net/alarm counter. That's all one word, lowercase. And it will bring you to yes, the link will also be in the show notes if you can't type that in. And it's a nice little website that tells you how many days it's been since the last fire alarm went off and how many total fire alarms there have been this semester.
Yep. Right now we're at 7, and 1 day, at least the time of recording, 1 day since last alarm.
Yes, 1 day since last alarm, which was yesterday morning at 9:50 a.m.
While I was very much in the shower.
Yes, he was very much in the shower.
I was
very
like
much
9:40
trying
and I was
to
drying off.
take my meds and drink milk and just exist. I don't know, get ready for class.
Yeah, the morning routine.
Yeah, that. And just abruptly got shattered because some dip didn't understand how to use a toaster, probably. I don't know. No, because the fire department kind of just didn't show up either.
Yeah.
The alarms just quit because they had been going for like half an hour, and then we all just went back inside.
Yeah. Like, I hate this building.
That building really irks me.
Like, I don't like this building. It makes me upset.
I don't like it either. I really don't like it either.
Here we are.
If you happen to be a resident of our building, I also built in a new backend where you can type in your room number and submit a suggestion to increment it if we somehow miss it. Like if we're away or something and we don't count it. And also on that page, there's another link for us to go into the edit page.
Yes. If you live on our building, you know it. Sleepdrunk.net/alarm counter, you can increment it. Or you can suggest us to increment it.
But it does verify it. You have to have an email address with our university, and it doesn't say which. It just makes you have an email address with our university, and then it also checks to see if your room number is a valid room number in our building. Yes, I spent the time to actually do that.
Good job, Alex. Proud of you.
Thank you.
But yeah. So that's there, sleepdrunk.net/alarm counter. Links in the show notes. Is that your week, Alex?
Yep, that's my week.
All right. Awesome.
How was yours?
My week has been... I'm adjusting to the load of my classes and work. Like, last week was my first full week of classes. Like, all of the classes, work, all hands on deck. And I survived. I got through it. I finally met, for my terrorism class, my class on, like, the war on terror and Islam and Muslims and Muslim Americans, which is something I'm interested in. But, like, I'll put it this way, okay? I thought this would be one of those classes where it's, like, to put it blunt, it's a bit squishy. Like, it's the kind of class where, like, you have to conform to the professor's beliefs, because a lot of the stuff here, it's very touchy stuff. It's religion and policy, and, like, it's...
That would probably be how most of those classes are.
But I will say this. She seems to, at least the professor, relatively open to different opinions. Like, she even said, like, you don't have to agree with me. I don't expect you to agree with me on everything. But still, it's like, I'm a Muslim. You gotta chill out, like, with how much you're pushing Islam in this class. It's like, I don't know. It's interesting. I'll put it this way. And also, we did an icebreaker in class, right? To start it off, where the idea is, you wrote the name of a Muslim person, like a Muslim figure, right? You write their name on a sticky note. You give it to the professor sticks it to your back, and then, like, people have to help you figure out what yours are. 90% of them were Muhammad Ali. Like, he's great. Cool guy, you know.
Is that why that sticker was in your laptop?
Yeah. It was like the man boxes. But, come on. There's so many others. Like, seriously. Like, Malcolm X. Super famous dude. Super important dude. Could have done him. There's comedians. Like, there's so many people. I put Hassan Minhaj. Was like, used to be part of the Daily Show and has his own show now. Funny guy. And the funny thing is, Michael got mine and I got Michael's, and Michael wrote Muhammad Ali. So, like, that was pretty funny because we're in the same class. Yeah, that was that class. It wasn't terrible. It was just let's see. Econ class went really well. I learned about the Edgeworth box and fixed endowment trading scenarios, which is pretty cool. Jazz has been good. You know, I've been soloing, working. I have a few solos I have to hammer out, which I'm probably going to do tonight and tomorrow night. Just hit the practice room, work on them. Working on a CS project now. That's been going. Actually, Wednesday. So Wednesday I was holding my office hours, which I do as a class assistant. It's like, hey, you know, students could come in, ask questions. So I share the room with one of the class assistants for Calculus 3. And also a chemistry one, but she didn't show. The chemistry one didn't show. So it's me and the Calculus 3, I'm class assistant, and we both finish our office hours, start and finish at the same time, because, like, it's just that block of time. And so we're, like, wrapping up. All of her students left. We're like, getting ready to go, right? And then she's like, oh, hey, by the way, you know, it's going to rain a lot. And I was like, oh, that's not good one. She's like, now. And then she says, of course, it turns out neither of us had any rain gear. And this is, like, Noah's Ark 2 Electric Boogaloo. Almost got struck by lightning type. So... we decided, she also happens to live in the same building as us, so we're just walking back together, right? Raining like all hell. And I'm a user of Pete and Pedro Salt, which is a spray you put in your hair, which gives it, you know, some volume, some texture, some liveliness. It's also mostly salt. Salt and some other stuff.
You were drenched when you got back.
Yes, I got very drenched. And as you know, salt is water soluble. Rain is water. And
is it?
When it rains, the water runs down your face. Your eyes are on your face. By the time we got back to my apartment, I could barely see. And I looked stoned out of my mind because of how red my eyes were. Pete and Pedro Salt betrayed me. It caused me so much pain. I feel like the rain
betrayed you.
I mean, yeah.
It's like nature, the sky,
yeah,
you know?
But still, it hurt. It hurt a lot. Like, it was bad. Like, my eyes were, like,
he was very hurt, and he
red.
would appreciate an apology.
Yeah.
Please and thank you.
Come on, Sky. But, like, my eyes were, like, bright red. And I was like, oh, that sucked. And also, I got my lovely blue suede Chelsea boots. they got wet, which made me kind of upset because I like them, but they're wet now.
But like flashbacks to Honors 122.
Moving on, rest of my week. Thursday went by pretty uneventfully, usual day. Yeah, not much. Just working on my CS project. I finally got like half of it working perfectly, which makes me happy because it's like most of the time I'll like have to fudge a couple of things, but this is working perfectly, which is really nice. I've made a dynamic array.
It's fun.
Next I have to code some other thing. It's probably gonna be for night tomorrow.
But like, what about associative arrays?
That's for next time. That's for another time. I don't want to think about that right now. You have no idea how long it took me.
I've been doing that in my free time.
That's why my CS is only a minor. But so, yeah, it's been a pretty low-key week. Just busy as usual. Today I'll talk about more about this in our next segment. Which, Alex, are you ready to transition to?
No, let me get ready. All right, now I'm ready.
All right. What'd you do there?
Literally nothing. I just wasted 5 seconds of your life.
All right, cool. You lost 5 seconds of the listener's life. So let's transitioning to our next segment. Let's talk about coffee. So
Too late. We've already wasted an hour of their lives.
42 minutes. Actually, not even 42 minutes. All right. So let's talk about coffee. So if you're like me and like a lot of college students, caffeine is a crutch for a lot of us. It keeps us going, makes those late night classes manageable, not fall asleepable. And for a lot of people, it's probably energy drinks, which is like fine. I'm personally not. See, here's the thing, right? I don't like energy drinks. Okay. If you want to know energy drinks, link, just shout out, okay? Trevor Wallace, he's a YouTuber, made a video about Bang Energy. It's going in there, because, like, to quote him, 2 bangs, 3 Adderalls, 1 brain cell. What the Actually, that was bad. That was the wrong kind of... My voice cracked and, like, didn't work. Also, there's a good chunk of the song.
It's gonna get censored anyway.
Yeah. I was just really more of a, what the There.
Your mic just cut out.
But so regardless, right? So for some people, I'm not an energy drink person because I feel like I don't like the way it hits me. Like, it's super, super jittery. I don't like that. So I'm a coffee person. I like coffee. And for me, the way I consume most of my coffee is I cold brew it. Now, you might be saying, you prick, why do you do this fancy hipster? Hippie?
You prick.
You probably put in a mason jar while, like, having a small peen. And you know what? You. But also, I think there's a lot of advantages to cold brewing.
Wow, what is this, Michael Reeves?
Wine, I wouldn't mind being Michael Reeves. He's thick. I roll with it.
Except for that he's very not thick.
He's kind of thick. He's thick in his own way. But so, alright, so cold brew, right? So I cold brew my coffee. And I think there's a lot of advantages to it, even if you're not a huge coffee person. So I think some of the big advantages are, first off, it's very cheap. And I think it's like this when you use any kind of, like, when you actually buy grounds, but cold brew is so much cheaper. Like, especially compared to buying cold brew in, like, a store. Like, for example, I think a 16-ounce cold brew at Starbucks costs, like, $4. If you cold brew it yourself, the cup costs, like, a quarter. Like 25 cents for 16 ounces. Maybe 50 cents. But, like, it's very cheap. So it's a very, very economical way to get coffee. I think next off, it is comparatively easy. Like, there's very little active work you actually have to do, and it's all concentrated in one time, so it also saves you a lot of time. And to prepare it, you just, like, pour concentrate in it. So when you cold brew coffee, you get a concentrate, which is like a thick, it's very thick and very dense. So you mix it with water.
Thick with 2 Q's, by the way?
Yes, thick with 2 Q's. So you mix it with water and some ice, or you can even have it hot. You can have it hot or cold. Like, people think cold brew coffee means ice. No, you can have it hot. You just have to heat it up. So you just, like, I normally do 1-to-1, so, like, one part concentrate, 1 part water. Drink that. It's super easy. It takes seconds to make. Seconds to get set up. And I also think it's a really good way to get into specialty coffee, which is, like, coffee that's, like, higher, that isn't, like, Folgers or, like, your basic caffeine vessel. The kind of thing where it's, like, it's legitimately tastes nice, even if you don't like black coffee, and I drink it black. It's a very good entry point because of how easy it is to do. It's a very easy process, which I'll break down in a little bit, but super easy. It's super affordable. You really don't need any special gear. Like, you don't need a Chemex and a gooseneck kettle. or like a
May I
toddy.
just say, oh my god, I love coffee. I'm
Smartt
sitting here drinking a grande iced sugar-free vanilla latte with soy milk.
and almond milk. Rainbow unicorn. A Smart.
And caramel drizzle.
Yes, 4 shots of vanilla.
Or is it a triple venti half-sweet non-fat caramel macchiato?
That was an actual order given to someone now. That was an order given to Gigi when she worked at Starbucks.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That could be a segment. Bring her on here. Ever tell us about Starbucks horror stories.
That could be
look forward
bad.
to that if we can ever get a hold of her. So it's good. Like it's quite convenient. Also, especially once you have it made, like you just have your concentrate. It's convenient, and I like the way it tastes. Like I think that even black, it comes out a lot smoother because when you heat up coffee beans, they release a lot of acids. So it's not as acidic. It's nice and smooth. You get a lot of the base characteristics. So now we'll walk you through the process of how to make cold brew and how you can do it yourself. Like I do it once a week, every week basically. Like I have a batch brewing right now. It's a medium roast. I think it's Cafe Dueña. It's a medium roast blend I got at Whole Foods. And also, Alex, fun fact, you're gonna hate this, but the Whole Foods near us that I decided to check out today. First of all, it has a has a bigger than average coffee selection, and also has a whole ass restaurant in it. Like a whole
So does Wegmans.
full no, not like it's not like how it's a Wegmans restaurant. This is a independent restaurant operating within the Whole Foods. It's a different brand.
Ew.
And then on top of that, they have their standard Whole Foods restaurants, like in the back, like the sandwich spot. It's the most extra.
So basically,
it's the most extra.
must make more than 150K per year to enter.
Yes, basically, you need to make at least 150.
Otherwise, you'll get bad looks and some sneers.
Yes. But it is. That being said, they have a great coffee selection, so I'm gonna be going there. I actually got it. It was roasted today and ground today, so it's very fresh. But so the absolute basic bare bones coffee cold brew setup, right? This is literally all you need. You need a container. You need coffee grounds, not instant, they have to be grounds, right? And it'll say on the bag, and water. That is all you need. And time. Like, what you do is put the coffee.
This is me when I got time.
Like, put the coffee in the container, add the water, let it sit for 12 hours. Done. And then run it through some kind of strainer. I guess strainer as well. Or really, you could arguably even do it without a strainer if you make it in small batches and like you're very good with your pouring technique. But that's literally all you need to get started. That's how I started. I think I was like, you know what? I want to try making some cold brew. So I was at my local grocery store. I just picked up this random bag of like Starbucks branded grounds, threw them in a container, threw in some tap water, and it came out pretty damn good for something that was that lo-fi. Like, honestly, anyone can get started on this. Like, really, you can do it. It's not hard. What I do is I do a 1-to-4 ratio by volume, which I know all the leaders are going to be like, oh, use a scale. I don't have a kitchen scale. So I just use however many cups of coffee, that and 4 times that in water. And it works fine. So, yeah, I do it 1-to-4 by volume. However, that basic setup, it's kind of inconvenient. There are some major drawbacks, mainly getting the grounds out of the water, because cold brewing is an immersion ground, much like French press. So, what I would recommend is kind of a medium tier setup. This is where I'm at, really, with my setup, is getting what I have, it's called a cold brew bag. It's just kind of like a giant tea bag that you put your coffee in, and then that way you can just pull it out, and all of the grounds come out with it. So you don't have to get rid of all the big grounds. It cost me like $10 on Amazon. Very affordable. Like, it was great, and it works great, multiple uses. I also still have the same container. I
think I might start making cold brew soon.
Yeah, or you can just have some of mine. Like, you can just like contribute to the cold brew fund, and then I can just brew it. I like making it.
For that.
Yeah. So, so I also get specialty grounds. So like I said earlier, I went to a Whole Foods. I got the Cafe Dueña, which is a medium roast. I like a medium roast personally. I also like dark roast, but I feel like a lot of people, like, I'm not a huge light roast person. I'll put it that way. I'm not a very big light roast person. I'm more of a medium dark kind of guy. But you can use whatever roast you want. Most people recommend a medium to light, just because that way you get more of the subtle flavors that you get from the coffee. You get the region characteristics, as they're called. So I like a medium roast, and then I also use filtered water. just to add that extra, like, you'd be surprised how big a difference it makes, I think, having good filtered water. So it's the same process. The bag goes in the container sits on the counter for 12 to 18 hours. Done.
But what about what about my locality water?
The thing is, I think actually the minerals would mess with it. You want to have relatively pure water.
I just had to screw with you.
I mean, that's an interesting thing. Actually, I got spring water this time because, like, it was cheap, and I didn't want to spend $1.50 for a bottle of water when I can get it for 89 cents. But
you can literally buy distilled water for the same price.
I was at Whole Foods.
Ew.
Cause like,
don't go to Whole Foods.
That's where I was getting my coffee. It's like, I'm not going to stop at another grocery store just to buy water.
Why doesn't Whole Foods just sell water? Damn it.
They do, but it's like a few cents more expensive. And so I got the Whole Foods water that was cheaper. Like, it was like $1.29. And
well, you see, your first mistake was going to Whole Foods.
Was 89 cents.
I can't even speak to you. You went to Whole Foods.
Look, they got good coffee. That's all I'm going to say. But yeah.
But like now you're out here drinking caramel macchiatos, Venti, Skim, extra hot, but like, extra shot, I'm just extra whip, sugar free.
See, but I'm drinking 50 cents cold brew.
Because you're extra high maintenance.
Actually, speaking of coffee, like the grounds, I thought I mentioned that. I'll spend around maybe $5 on the bag of grounds. That gets me just about half a pound, depending on the cost of like the grounds, roughly half a pound. And that lasts me all week. So my process is, on Friday or Saturday night, depending on where my concentrate's at, I will start the batch, right? I'll measure out my ground, pour in the water. That takes maybe 10 minutes. Let that sit. And then the next morning, what I do is I take it, I brew it in a pitcher, just because that's what I have. And then I transfer it to like a plastic... How would you describe the thing I keep my cold brew in, Alex? Like,
it's like a really... Isn't it like a plastic Tupperware-ish container that you got from a Chinese restaurant?
No. I got it. Like, it's the big one with the measurements on it. It's like an actual bottle.
Thing. It's just like a pitcher.
But it's not like a pitcher. It doesn't have the pitcher form factor. I'll put a picture in the show notes. Picture in the show notes. You'll see it.
I don't know. I don't look at your cold brew setup.
I'll put a picture of it in the show notes.
So, also, by the way, just for plagiarism, not doing it purposes, I've been reading my obnoxious Starbucks drink orders from a Huffington Post article entitled "The Most Obnoxious Starbucks Drink Orders." So, there's that.
We don't get sued by HuffPost. Yeah, but so I keep it in that, and that lasts me roughly a week, and I get maybe 2 to 3 quarts, somewhere in that range of concentrate. So for me, that's 1 cup a day. That's all I need. And if you want to go advanced, and I mean like really advanced, here is, I think, probably the best setup you could have that I know of. First off, you have a toddy, which is a specialized cold brew making container with a little plug on the bottom and built-in filters that you can change. So you just pull the plug, cold brew concentrate comes out. No extra work. Because what I do...
Yes, but I feel like if you own a toddy, that just sounds pretentious.
I know a guy that owns a toddy.
You're that guy.
I know a guy that owns a toddy.
You would know a guy that owns a toddy. It's probably also the same guy that's like, the color that milk and coffee make is just really disgusting and unappetizing.
Okay. He's referring to James Hoffman. He's a great guy. Like, he's a huge prick.
No, I refuse to believe it. I will not believe that.
He's
an asshole.
We'll link him to all kinds of links in the show notes this time, because I'm writing them down now because I put a whiteboard sticker on my desk.
Coffee YouTuber community review?
Honestly, I'd be down. But just like for reference, okay, stay roughly on topic. The way I do is that after I pull out the cold brew bag, I still run my concentrate through a coffee filter, or a few coffee filters, because I end up going through multiple, just to because you get little particles which impact the overall texture and quality. So I like to get those out. But like Toddy takes care of all of that. You just like pull the plug, comes out. So you get one of those, right? Next up, of course, you buy whole beans, right? You buy whole beans from your local niche coffee roaster, right? The roaster roasts it to where you want. You buy them from that guy or gal, right? You grind them right before you brew them, like literally seconds before you grind them to get them as fresh as possible. You store them in a glass container, probably a mason jar, because let's be honest, if you're doing this, you probably have some mason jars. And of course, you use God's piss, whatever that is, really good water. You use that. So that would be the optimal money is not an object cold brew setup. But honestly, I feel like that middle tier setup I mentioned, the one I'm running, I think that's a very good setup for most people. That will be what you need to enjoy cold brew coffee. which is just, the bag, a pitcher, and some decent quality grounds. That's all you need. And I think that's been keeping me happy because I like coffee. I'm addicted to caffeine, like most college students. Might as well make the best of it, right? Also, benefit, cold brew comes out a lot stronger caffeine-wise. There's a lot more caffeine in that stuff.
Yes, don't want to denature your caffeine.
Yes, because caffeine gets, destroyed by heat. I don't think it's denaturing, it's something else.
Well, basically, yeah. I mean...
Because when a protein denatures, it's just shape changes, the chemical compound. Caffeine gets chemically broken down by heat. So, when you heat up coffee, in a Keurig or a pour-over or however you make it, French press, you lose some of the caffeine. Cold brew, you keep that caffeine. You keep it, you get to enjoy it. So yeah.
Basically, it all boils down to this. Kids, if you're not brewing your coffee with Voss, who are you?
That's probably what you would use for the high-end setup is Voss, except, it's
or
a Voss.
Fiji, if you're a little poorer.
Yeah. Or it's a Smartt water that you put in a San Pellegrino bottle.
Also, I just have to vent this. Smartt water. They advertise their water to be some sort of electrolyte water, but there's literally more electrolytes in just about any tap water than there is in Smartt water.
I will say this. I like their bottles. Their bottles are nice. I'll give them that. They have nice bottles.
But branding.
Yeah, it's is it deceptive? Absolutely, it's deceptive. But I like their bottles. They're nice bottles. They're well designed. I like their bottles.
I like Nestle's hot chocolate, but are they a horrible company? Yes.
But they make
also that. Chocolate.
It's just it's how it is, I like bottles. What can I say? It's my thing.
Are they? Do they have the blood of thousands of African children on their hands? Yes, they definitely do.
Bottles. Here's the thing, I'll say this. When I'm traveling, sometimes I'll get a Smartt water bottle just because, A, airport security not always letting me bring a bottle through, and B, because I can refill it quite easily, and, the top is durable enough where it won't... I don't know, it's more sturdy, which is, if you're traveling for, 20 hours...
It's sturdiest, and that's a Voss bottle. It's made of glass.
And also hard to get on planes, depending on the airline and where you're flying.
Or just, reusable bottle.
Yeah, but sometimes
you can buy those at Kroger.
Depending on how where you're traveling, so they're really depends on the agent. They're oh, you can't take that. You have to leave that here.
You can get ones that are made of glass.
I always forget, and also it's I don't have to carry it when I'm there. I like a reusable bottle.
Alternatives than to buy Smartt water.
Yeah, no, but for me, it's if I'm buying bottled water when I'm traveling, that's what I'll buy. Just because it's a more sturdy bottle, I can reuse it for the duration of the time I'm traveling.
All right, fair enough.
And also that way, if I'm traveling, I won't lose any nice reusable bottles I have because I have one left somewhere. That way, I won't lose it.
I don't get people that lose all their stuff when they travel. How is that thing a thing that happens regularly? I can't say I've lost really anything when I've been traveling.
Here's the thing: I rarely do, but if I can avoid it with some redundancy, I will. It's happened, I think, once, and it sucks. It just the feeling.
Same to me, but it's bad. Just I lost an undershirt.
I don't know. It's just a weird thing for me. But I think, with that being said, the Sleepdrunk podcast can be found on any of your favorite podcasting platforms, including Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, Stitcher, YouTube, and more.
Yes, but thank you for listening to this episode of Sleepdrunk, and please do remember that the first person to guess the song of the day on any of our social media or via email will get a shout out in the next episode. The song of the day for the last episode was
what was
quite
it?
An oof.
What was it?
It was the contrabass saxophone.
Oh. Yeah, it was
Leo P or whatever the hell his name is.
Oh no, okay, it was Leo P playing the sax.co.uk contrabass saxophone. Yeah.
Yes.
By Leo P and sax.co.uk.
And please do also remember to share the show with friends, family, coworkers, anyone who you think would enjoy it. Maybe someone at your local Whole Foods. And with that, we'll catch you next week.
We'll catch you next week.